So now we reach the demo part of this presentation. As an overview, we already implemented the process in SAP Netweaver BPM. We also defined a web service to trigger this process. Now we're going to consume this web service in a Visual Composer model, and this will then serve for the end user, so the end user can fill in his or her personal data and then submit. On submit, the web service will trigger the process. The process consists of two steps. So the first step will be for the call center agent, a human activity in the universal work list. And in the human activity, the call center agent can review the application of the end user and then confirm or reject. If the call center agent confirms, then the customer data will be created in the backend through this enterprise service we created earlier. If not, nothing will happen and the process will finish. Now let's have a look at the actual demo. First, we will have a short overview of the different screens we will use. So the first screen you see here is the screen in which the end user will fill in his data, and then he will submit this. On submit, SAP Netweaver BPM process will be started, which we can verify in your Manage Process view in the Netweaver Administrator. The first activity of this process is a human activity, which will be visible in the universal work list. We will then execute this human activity, and the first time we will accept the user application. We will then go back to the Manage Process view and check that the process runs along and see if the process actually calls the enterprise service we created. And finally, to verify if all went well, we can also check the CAF service browser to see if a new customer record has been added. Now let's start with the actual demo. So first we'll pose as the end user and we fill in our personal data in the input form and we hit submit. So now a SAP Netweaver BPM process is started in the backend, which we can verify in our Manage Process view. In fact, here it is. And in the History tab, we can see that there was one task created of the type human interaction. Now let's go to the universal work list, where this task actually ended up. We'll perform a refresh. And here we see the task that was created for the call center agent. So as a call center agent, we will now execute this task. So as you can see, here is the data that the end user filled in the form, and now we decide to confirm the user application. Now if we go back to the Manage Processes view and we do a refresh of the history, we can actually see that our own enterprise service was called. You can see here web service operation BPS rec create request confirmation in has completed successfully. Now let's verify this in the CAF service browser. We'll hit refresh. Now here we can see that the customer record was actually created in the database.